Hello, Involians. My name is Theo. It's the first time I am making a video for you guys. Pretty excited to get this going. Why I'm making this video, I've been just getting flow of DMs asking me questions, after questions on how to follow my trade, what platform I use, and etc. So I just wanted to go over a couple of things before you guys start following me. So the first things first. A lot of questions about what platform I trade on. I use Mexi. I do have accounts on Bluefin, Binance, and Bybit. And, just to monitor prices for different platforms. As some exchanges, their prices tend to differ a bit. But I trade mainly on Mexi. As you guys can see, this video or this series of videos I'm going to make from now was supposed to be for the $10 portfolio. So if so I can get it all the way up to 1,000. Problem is, if I go to my 10 to 1K portfolio, I'm only at 7% increase. So that should actually put me at $10.70. I'm actually at around $15, which was around 48% increase, not at 7%. Now, why this happened was because, as you guys know, or if you guys don't know, if you're in my chat room, you guys should know, I give most of my real trade calls here. A lot of them I can't enter on Involio because, a lot of them just hit entry points when I'm asleep, or, maybe it'll just tickle the entry points and spike back up, and, I don't want to enter a trade that I have better positions for to just trick you guys into getting potential losses. That's the whole reason I created this chat room, was so first Involio only goes up to 20x leverage, but I use, as you guys, if you're in my chat room, you guys know I use a lot of 50x's. Sometimes I use 200x's like this, the Sui trade. So, just to give you guys a higher leverage on what I take and more insight, I like to give my, calls here. So you guys can actually set up a limit order and not just always tap to be on Involio, just waiting for when I'm going to post a trade. If you're going to miss it or not, you guys can just set it up the exact same way I do and see if you guys can make a profit like me. So, I gave like 10, 12 trades in the past week. I think most of them hit. I'm not sure if ADA hit. I'm going to have to check my main account on that. But I know this didn't because I gave this trade 12 hours ago. And I did an update that it hit. And if you go to Doge USDT in futures, and if I'm looking at 4-hour timeline, within the last 12 hours, it didn't hit the entry price hit. So I just know the entry price didn't hit. I will try to update the chat room as much as I can if entry points or take profits occur. But if I don't, just to make sure, sometimes if you guys see a trade, for instance, if you're about to enter the Dogecoin at the moment I'm recording this at 10 p.m. Well, I uploaded this around 12 hours ago. Just go to the platform you're trading, check the last 12 hours. Has it hit 171 around here? It certainly did not. So that means this trade is still valid and waiting for the entry price to go down. So this is how you would find some trades that are valid. Normally I do post like for XRP, entry 1 hit, Algo, entry 1 hit, Ethereum, entry 1 hit. Usually you can check for those too. If I didn't say any entries didn't happen, then they're still valid. Okay, so, and by the way, a lot of people are asking me, because I said I'm from California, how I use Mexi. Just use VPN, it's not that hard. I do have the premium version. I've been using it for like the past 5 hours. I've been using it for weeks, and yes, it costs you a little bit of money, but wait, hold on. Hello? Hey babe, I'm actually up. Let me call you back in like 15. Is that fine? Oh, okay. Love you. Okay, sorry, girlfriend interruption, but yeah, use VPN if you want to use Mexi. It doesn't have KYC, so you can just, you don't have to do all that like verification things. So yeah, let me show you how to follow my calls exactly now. So let's say we're following this, and I'm actually going to show you an example of it. Usually I would, I recommend 2 to 50x. I use a lot of high leverages like 200x, sometimes 125 leverage. Completely up to you guys. My recommendation, 10 to 50x, especially if you're a beginner and you don't know what you're doing. You can get liquidated in like a snap of like a Thanos finger. So don't use high leverage if you don't know what you're doing. Stick to what I'm giving you. Entry price, there's 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. This is a long position, so entry price 1 will be here, 2 here, 3 here. What this means is 171 is your original entry price. DC 8.1 is 167. DC 8.2 is 163 with the stop loss at 0.16. I recommend using 1% to 3% of your balance. If you're using 3% of your portfolio balance, 1% would go in at 171, 1% would go in at 167, and 1% would go in at 163. And normally you will set the TP to TP10 and just move the stop losses to any of these points once the stop loss hits. Okay, so let me show you here. Current balance 1484. Made a 50% increase within a couple days. Okay. So 14.84. So normally what you would do is set up a limit order at the first entry point, which is 171, 0.171, and I guess 1484 times 0.01 for the 1% of your portfolio balance would be around 15 cents. Now the problem with this is that if I do around 15 cents, it's probably not going to let me bet the amount. Yep, I can't bet it because it's too small. Now, the only reason I'm not putting 1% of my portfolio into this trade is because this is a challenge portfolio that I'm doing 10 USD to 1,000. So I'm going to put in around maybe $1 or $1.50 in a minute, but around, I guess, a little bit less than 10%, around 10% of the balance if you're following with the 10 US dollars that we started with. Don't put 10% of your portfolio into these calls. I mean, you can if you want to gamble, and I'm pretty confident in what I do. Most times I will probably profit off of it, but the one time I don't, if you put in a heck of a big amount, you can't get liquidated. So I'll show you how it goes. 1484. I'm gonna put in $1 US into this, just because it's an entry point 1. Now, how you want to calculate this is this. I'm gonna use let's see if I can use a 50x, and because it's a long position, I'm gonna do long TP/SL, right? 0.20000. Of course, how I get these values is through TradingView, and but just if you're just completely new to this and just want to follow and see if it profits you or not, this is what you'd be going through. In the eyes of a beginner, I'll explain everything. $1 in of 14 bucks. So let's see. Take profit TP10 is 0.2. All right, so 0.2. So if this goes to 0.2, we'll make around 580. P&L will be around the 850%. Nah, it's okay. Normally though, what I'll explain here is stop loss is 0.16. Normally, what is known to be pretty good is your profit to loss ratio should be around 3 to 1, right? So maybe 2.5 to 1. You don't want to do a trade where you're like, it's almost a pure gamble. If you win it or lose it, you gain 50% or you lose 50%. That's not a good trade. So let's see. So it will be, just for simple math, 850 around divided by 300, 20%, 2.6, a bit slightly over 2.5 ratio. It's not a bad trade if it does hit TP10. This is why I set mine at TP10. I will set a limit order. Now, usually what people ask is when they want to exit, because if you look at the other ones, Link is at TP6, Algo is at TP6, ETC is at TP6. So that would be around here if this was the Doge trade. Usually from TP1 through TP5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around halfway, I say around TP5 is like the scalping area. After entry within maybe like a week or two, you can probably expect to exit if you just want to scalp at TP5. TP6 to TP10 are medium to long hold trades. So me personally, what I do is when it hits TP4 or 5, I would move the stop loss to the break even, or maybe at TP1 or 2 to secure profit, and just let it be until it hits TP10 or SL. You know, I like to do that sometimes. That's how I do it. And so enough talking. Let's actually set it up. Putting $1 into this. So even if it hits the stop loss, I'll lose $2. Not that bad when I have 15 bucks. Right, so then what I'm gonna do is open long. Ta-da! Now it's at 171. Once it hits here, then I'll enter it. Now what I'm gonna do next is enter 1% more at 167 here. And it's really simple, 0.167. Now, as you see, now the ratio is even better. Why? Because we're at a worse position, and 167 is around like right here. And our stop loss is 16 is around here. So, you know, I'm gonna add another $1 at 167. Same TP, same stop loss, open long. And there we go. And then at 163, I'm going to add another one. Right. So now I have one order at entry 1, one order at entry 2, one order at entry 3. So, and then my setup is done. Now all you probably have to do is, you know, if you're using MXC or whatever exchange, it will notify you every time your entry is hit. And, you know, I'm probably gonna, if I'm up during the time this hits, I'm going to update in the chat that the entry has been hit. And every TP, probably after TP1, 2, or 3, I'm gonna update that TP4, TP5, TP6, TP7, all the way to TP10 when it hits. You know, so in case if you're already happy with the profits, then you can just exit whenever you want. Or you can just move your stop, let's say you're at TP5, you can move your stop loss to maybe TP2 or 3. So if it does reverse, you can at least make some profit and then just wait to see if it hits TP10. The reason I don't recommend moving SL to right before all the time is because, you know, the market doesn't move in a straight line. For instance, you know, I'm looking at Doge, it's, you know, it's on the general uphill graph, but, you know, up, down, up, down, up, down. So when the market is still moving in the general trend that we predicted it to be, you might just you'll still gain some profit if you do that, but, you know, you probably won't make as much of the potential that we see. So yeah, this is how you set up the trade. Hopefully by the time I upload this video, this Doge trade doesn't enter, the entry doesn't happen, so you guys can follow exactly like how I did with the $10 you guys started with. Let's just pray. Oh, by the way, I use cross all the time. I do use a lot of 50x's. This trade, I said use 50x, so I'm just doing it so you guys can just replicate me from A to Z, you know, 1 through 100. I'm really excited to make this portfolio, you know, just to help you guys out. Yes, this is a channel portfolio. It can get liquidated. You know, I'm gonna make some risky, bold moves, but hey, it's just $10 that we're using. Maybe $10 is a lot for you. Then if that is the case, you shouldn't really be trading, in my opinion. But you know, let's see if we can get this $10 all the way up to 1,000. I will catch you guys in the next video, probably after entry 1 has been hit, and when I probably set SLs and TP stuff like that. But this is episode 1 of how to follow my calls in my chat room. Hopefully I can get to 1,000 before Involio copy trade comes out, because then this will all be just useless. You guys can probably just press one button and just like copy me. But yeah, that's it. See you guys in the next video. Adios.